It's a real honor to be here. It was just a year ago that was asked to speak, and again, I said at that time, you guys, I'm pretty biased, I have strange opinions, you guys are the heroes. What we talked about, what was identified in the PCAST report to the President is that what faces our nation, a key challenge in our innovation ecosystem, is this missing middle. And the answer here isn't more government programs, government spend to do work for the government in that TRL 4 to 7. It is rather, how do we connect what is the envy of the world, our national labs, but also, most especially, our world-class universities to the needs of industry. So the theme then was all about a partnership, and you heard the President talk about that at last year's State of the Union address. So it was about the partnership. So that's why I said at the time, no hyperbole, you guys are the heroes. What we're trying to do here with NNMI is to create the space for you and industry to work together very, very efficiently, productively in that win-win. Now, I was that domestic import from industry at that time. And what we take as pretty much the norm, tell folks what you're going to do and then do what they say, do what you said you're going to do. That was the theme. So we've been trying to articulate this. We've been trying to be at lots of events. It's best part of my job is to go out to events, go speak, and especially to visit universities. So why this is really a pleasure to be here is a year ago, we just had formed a pilot, this National Additive Manufacturing Innovation Institute, and they recently rebranded themselves because NAMI, these engineers in government, they like acronyms. They rebranded themselves America Makes. A year ago, NAMI was just issuing the first project calls. So the folks that, okay, what have you done for me this week? It was just very nascent at the time. It was just the first project calls. Fast forward today, and America Makes is firing on all cylinders. They've completed their second project call, funding $9 million of really key applied research in additive manufacturing. Plus, we have a brand new consortia that is on next generation power electronics, or if you're into this, wide bandgap semiconductors. And that consortia is led by NC State, plus two full-size institutes will be awarded, I'm getting tired of saying this, very, very shortly. Plus, then we had yet another State of the Union address. And so, folks, it's been a busy year for us, and a big part of the success in moving these forward is because of your interest, your involvement, and your participation. So before I begin, I want to say simply thank you. I've also prepared, I understand that a lot of folks are interested in this. We prepared just for you a one-page because there's a lot of questions about, and I think that these are distributed, there's more out there, but this is a status just for you of what's happening. So if I fumble the slides, you have the facts here about the sophisticated calculus, why the President announced 6, why we will have 8 institutes this year, and most importantly, why we still need congressional support to launch a whole brand new network. So with that, 5 agenda topics. I will move quickly. I'll try to shorten it from the 30 minutes. My whole presentation is on this cartoon, and I'm going to be walking through this, but the cartoon is to show you a lot of moving parts, a lot of basis behind this. The impetus for this started with that PCAST report, but folks don't quite get on how all these moving parts are there. So in essence, my talk today is just this story, just this particular story. So let's begin with this. Why are we doing this? Well, that of course, this was the AMP report to the President. It came out in June of 2012. It called for, it had 16 recommendations and 3 pillars, but that key one there, establish a national network of manufacturing innovation institutes. Actually, if you're paying attention to the details, the President actually made the announcement even before this report came out. And the reason for that was it was so strong, so unanimous at the review in December. Then in January, it was a let's do this, let's go, let's not wait. And that led up to the announcement in March about let's have this as a national initiative, and let's learn by doing a pilot. First, what are we talking about? That missing middle. In fact, a new report just came out from GAO just last week, and they took that stylized chart, and I like that they actually added color. So I'm grabbing this from that, but it really points to this gap, this missing middle. This is what we want to see, is that more investment by industry in that TRL 4 to 7. But that is a danger zone. That is in a pre-competitive zone where, if you follow the economic terms, industrial commons, advancements there can take a while. You need to have very patient capital, but as well as advancements in this industrial commons not only helps you as this particular company, but it helps the whole industry. And so there are rational reasons why industry says, we know that we should be doing more in this, but individually, we shouldn't. As a public company, we cannot rationalize it because it's helping our competitors, and especially perhaps competitors around the world. So there are real structural reasons why we have this industrial commons issue, and that's the whole point. That's the placement of NNMI, to be the federal place to create that space for industry and academia to partner, to really be working together. So I said at the outset, you folks are the heroes, because if you weren't there, no matter what we do, this wouldn't work. So that's the second time I said it, and I'm going to say it at least one more time at the outset, because for this to work, it has to be involved with you as thought leaders, engineering deans, but especially the engineering programs around our nation. So let's move ahead. Well, what did the president announce? That was, let us do this as a national initiative. And this is so important, because if we would have just left it at that, it would be a proposal and we would be studying this ad nauseum. But what the president asked us to do is agencies work together as a team under existing budgets and authorities, stand up a pilot institute. We did not have the design of what an institute is. So let's stand up a pilot and learn from it. And doing a test bed in industry, that's not an uncommon thing. It's a relatively uncommon thing for government to try this. And I'm so glad that we did this, because the idea here is learn, take your best shot, fail fast. And my biggest surprise with NAMI is how little that they failed. We have done internal and we have done an external review, independent review of America Makes. And we have a detailed document of lessons learned, of what we can do better, and that was enormously impactful in the design of NNMI. So that institute, the initial federal investment was only $30 million. That attracted $40 million. It's grown significantly since then. There are, from every other week, a new industry partner is joining America Makes. And I still have the logos there because that's a source of pride that we worked so very quickly, stood up a solicitation, 10 different areas and 5 different agencies worked together as a seamless team, and that we made an award so quickly. In fact, one of the lessons learned is don't move that quickly, because it was enormously difficult for the 12 consortia teams that were putting this together. It was very difficult for them to get all of their moving parts together. And you saw that when we moved ahead with the full-size institutes, that let's do this as a twin level. Have a very simple pre-application, and then so you don't have to put in all this Herculean work to find out you're way off base. And then you would be invited to do a second piece. And then the folks that weren't invited, I can join these other teams. So this is why, simple idea, let's create a LinkedIn site. We don't own it. Folks, we want partners to be talking about putting together the right engineering teams. So while the pilot was going and while we were learning, if you recall, that was a busy summer because we also did workshops around the country. We held these mainly at university settings, and that was really, I had high expectations and I was just blown away by the participants. 1,200 voices. Industry just beat academia by like 5, significant. So it was a tie on the number of people from academia, from industry. So we used that, plus the design review, and we came up with this report, and that was issued last January. That was the preliminary design report. So this is our framework. Is it detailed? Nope. Is it perfect? Of course not. It is the framework, and there were a lot of sections in there that were TBD. One of them was details around common approaches to, for example, intellectual property rights. So what we have seen, foreshadowing slides ahead, is we've continued to develop the design, but the important thing was we published a framework design, and then that informed us for the approach on the full-size institutes. The little cartoon here is pulled out of that framework design. And I really like this. If you want to understand the basis of NNMI in two cartoons, the first is this wiring diagram. That is, it is a partnership, as the president emphasizes. It is a partnership, industry and academia. So the stakeholders here are clearly government, federal government, of course, but state and local government are important stakeholders. But again, to stress the point, this isn't to do work for the government. Rather, it is the investment, the one-time investment to create the sustaining space for industry and academia to partner. So the other two there, industry, large, but especially small and medium-sized companies, having access for them, and as well as startups. So the three boxes on the right are particularly important. And of course, academia. This was stressed in the AMP report. I mean, here the 6 university presidents and 12 CEOs, if you read the AMP report, what did they emphasize about the needs of academia? They didn't say, let's triple the amount of federal funding for research. Rather, they said, it's working well. What we need to do is burnish the role of community colleges. So that piece here, universities, first among equals, but the role and involvement of community colleges and other educational institutions in an institute. So that, in a nutshell, is to create the space. And if you notice that little darker green box, the shared use facility, that's an important element here. As our friends from DoD like to say, it can't be just a place where people are sitting at computer screens and writing memos and printing out reports. This is a place where real work happens. So this is a place where an institute, there's a loading dock. And I love that phrase from our DoD friends. There's a loading dock. Something's happening. It is the place where you go, the best people and the best equipment. If you have an idea, if you're a small company, you have an idea, you can go and you can prototype or test that process. That's the cool thing. The flip side, and I showed this picture a year ago. It's still one of my favorites, is if you just have the institute, you have to have the applied research right. But it has to be more. It has to be more. It has to be the place where that unit technology is packaged together into a solution. So supply chains, the solution set is important. It has to have access for small and mediums, which is the outsized place for new ideas in our country. And it has to have the role of education and workforce development. This is not competing with community colleges. It's not competing with universities. It's augmenting them. So those are the two pictures to understand the notion here. There's the wiring diagram, and there's the activities. So it has to be more than just applied research. So moving ahead, in our storyboard, since there was enormous response, not only to the pilot, even though it was done very, very quickly, there was just outstanding response to the RFI, the 6-month RFI, and the workshops, and clearly response to the full-size solicitations. This is where the president made a policy speech this past July that he articulated, this is what we know. The call for the up to 15 was the basis for a network. And what the president laid out is the vision here is a network of 45 institutes for our nation in 10 years. With that said, he stressed then, and I want to stress here, why he continues to ask our agencies to work together, but there is so much that can be done under administrative action. The important thing, and I'll be stressing this in a few slides here, is with congressional authorization, the most exciting thing here is that the topic selection can be open. We want you to be proposing the topics. Right now, we are limited because of, under existing budgets and authorities, to identify topics that are not only very well matched to this institute approach, but also that we have a present, current need for a mission agency. So that considerably narrows the domain of topics to essentially topics that are needed by the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy as the biggest mission agencies. So what has been done? Well, then the President made the announcement. This was January 15th. Went down to North Carolina State University. Anyone know anyone from North Carolina State? So this is what we stressed before during the public meetings. We want universities to be involved. They are incredibly important partners. Could a university lead it? And if you recall, if you were here last year, I said yes and no. What we don't want is that this is embedded into a small little section hidden away in the bowels of the mechanical engineering building. Okay, well, so the who runs this is a consortia, a partnership of research universities, big companies, medium companies, small companies, not-for-profits. So could a university run it by themselves? No. Could a university be part of a consortium? Clearly, you saw that with America Makes, and you saw that with this. Could a university lead a consortia? You bet. So the magic here, congratulations to North Carolina State, but the magic here, what they put together was not only a phenomenal technical case, plus the business case for why this area around Research Triangle Park, but finally they put together the consortia of the teams. And I'm expecting that this inaugural group of teams will quickly double in the number of participants. That's the real measure of did the consortium do the right job. So moving ahead, what did the President just announce in this year's State of the Union address? Well, he did a call out to the Institute, to the pilot, and to the new full-size institute awarded in Raleigh. And what the President announced is moving ahead with six more institutes under executive administrative action. So what this is this includes the previously announced Lightweight and Modern Metals Manufacturing Innovation Institute. So that solicitation occurred. So this is one of the six. This is one that will be awarded very shortly on lightweight and modern metals. The second is on digital manufacturing and design innovation. So you're all aware of that solicitation. That award will be made shortly, plus 4 more. So he has asked the agencies working together. It will be, again, an interagency approach. 2 of these institutes will be led by DOD. 2 of them will be led by our friends of the Department of Energy. But again, it's the same interagency team. Look for those solicitations to be coming out this year. Now, folks ask, well, what's this alchemy? We go into a darkened room, smoke-filled room, and somebody throws a dart and picks a topic. Actually, if you recall, during the RFI, during the workshops, we asked for the topics. We had 700 responses for topics. We compiled those into 135 unique different topics. We published that in a paper. Thank you so much. We use that a lot. The agencies have used a lot of public engagement of workshops. And the matching here is a prioritization of these topics against mission needs. And I'm borrowing the slide that was shown many months ago from the Department of Energy. So you see all of these topics were identified by you well over a year ago. But this is what the Department of Energy showed. And if you notice the little asterisks there, those are ones that planning workshops happened. That's a good approach. We want to have additional public meetings where we can crystallize these topics. So what they said then, and so I'm pretty clear here, if you want to know what would be a very likely topic, It was already well published by the interagency team. What we want to do with these topics is again emphasize that they need to be the win-win between there is a national need, that this topic is matched to something that an innovation institute it would be particularly good to address, plus there is a current mission need for the government. So why closing? Why what's happening here with bipartisan bicameral legislation? I'm thrilled to hear that both Senator Blunt and Senator Brown will be joining you tomorrow. That's really exciting. They are the lead sponsors in the Senate side for the bill for the National Network for Manufacturing Innovation, and Congressman Reed and Kennedy are the lead sponsors on the House side. So to stress here, with congressional authorization, we then not only have the ability to have an open solicitation, but we then would have the ability to support these institutes fully formed as a network of institutes. So as I said at one of my favorite sayings last year at these meetings is that bad accounting is good engineering. 1 + 1 + 1 needs to be 12. And this is why, and all you engineering folks get this, the synergy of a network is very, very important, because this is how, even though that they are different topics between additive manufacturing and next generation power electronics, there are common issues and common approaches that we can learn. So 2 right now, very soon that'll be joined by another 2, and expect that you'll see solicitations this year for 4 additional topics. So what are these topics? This is a little graphic of the 135 that we had. And my ask to you is that if we were to have congressional authorization tomorrow, are you ready? And so I would suggest to you, if you are interested in this, if you are interested in being a part of a Manufacturing Innovation Institute to create a brand new manufacturing hub in your state, this is the time right now to be forming the ideas for your proposal. Any one of the topics with congressional authorization, any topic that makes sense, put together the technical case, the business case, and the consortia of who you want as partners. So this is, I think, a very exciting time. My suggestion is don't wait, and we have really benefited from your active participation, your advice to our open request for comment, and your critique on the white papers that we've issued. We will continue to issue white papers with additional chapters on the design of NNMI. But with that, thank you very much for your attention. We are at manufacturing.gov or AMNPO at NIST.gov as the host of the interagency team. Appreciate it.